Hello, welcome to Woodline Tracking. Today we're going to talk about a subject that we need to talk about, socialism. We'll start off with what is socialism. Socialism is defined in a nutshell as where the government controls all the property or controls everything. Basically, socialism is the economics for communism. So more or less like in a free capitalist society, businesses, entrepreneurs come up with different things to sell or what they think people will buy, and then they put value on it or what they think people will pay for it. In a socialism economy, the government decides on what should be developed and what the value of it is. So if you like all the different flavors of coffee at Starbucks and the different iPhones you can buy, you want a capitalistic society because then you can get that choice. When a communist or a socialist society, more or less, you just have to buy what they tell you, what's available, and pay whatever they say you should pay for it. All right, next question. Is socialism deadly to America? Or, as some of the politicians that promote it would say, democratic socialism. Basically, all that is just propaganda trying to sell you, spice it up and sell you a better name of it because it's crap. Yes, it's very deadly. Socialism is very deadly. I don't know if you realize, but across the world, over 100 million deaths has became about because of socialism. You know, remember, absolute power corrupts absolutely unless the person is spirit-filled and is a true born-again Christian. What examples of this? You know, the people want to talk about Cuba as being a great socialist society. Fidel Castro led a revolution and became more or less a dictator of Cuba. He promised his people everything, freedom, rights. They don't have to work to do this, but once he took power, he kept power. And we all know how that ended up for Cuba. Now let's take America, for example. We fought a revolution. We had George Washington that led us. Greatly spirit-filled man, a great Christian, and he led us to our freedom and formed our country where we are now. Basically, George Washington is the only man in known history to give up absolute power. They wanted to make him a king, and he turned his sword into Congress and saying, basically, he fought too long and hard that America will be a republic. When King George found out about this in England, he didn't believe it. He said no man would give up a kingship. So when you have absolute power, and especially socialism and communism that's not biblically based, I don't care what you say, we'll get into that on our next subject, you tend to get real dangerous men in power. And do you think they'll take care of your freedom? You know, do you like freedom of speech? Do you? Yes, we all do. Well, under socialism and communism, basically, you don't have freedom of speech. They would dictate to you to tell you what to say, when to say, and how to say it. You know, like in Cuba, you could be a teacher. That's fine and dandy, but they tell you what to teach and how to teach it. So, you know, that'd be real great spreading the lie of socialism especially when you don't believe in it. But that's what socialism does. You can all remember the square there back with that college kid went out in front of the tank and told you to stop peacefully, trying to get their freedom from the socialist and communist China. Well, you know, no one ever knows what happened to him. So that's socialism for you guys. Here's a question for you. Can you name one thing that the government does great? You know, the government screws up everything. They do. They screw up everything. Here's another question for you. Would you rather have, if a choice, would you rather have the post office deliver your mail or packages, or UPS or FedEx? Everybody would say UPS or FedEx. They do a much better job than the post office. I might crack on the post office. I'm just stating a fact because it's government ran. So why would you allow the government to have more control over everything so they can screw it up and make your life more difficult? If socialism takes over, we will lose everything. We will not get back our rights or our freedom. And the beauty is, our rights are protected by the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and even the state's Constitution. You know, they talk about gun control, and you know, they want to take our guns and all this stuff to go down this path of this. But basically, the only way we'll lose our rights is if we give it up to them and allow them to take it. You know, basically, when a socialist society comes into power, they have to give you a bunch of snake water, hypothetically, and dumbify the people to believe in what they want to believe. Because that's the only way propaganda, they convince them that they're right and that it's all right, gun control, sensible gun control is a good idea. No, it's not. Anybody with wisdom knows it's not. You know, just don't drink the Kool-Aid, people. You know, they're just trying to sell you a bag of goods for them to be in power and take away our rights. In order for socialism, communism to work, you have to take the guns away from people. That's the first thing they do, so that people can't fight back or have any power to go back, and then you have to dumbify them and take away wisdom, give them snake water. Okay. Was America founded on Christian value? You hear all these stupid debates on this. Yes. Was Cuba? No. Cuba was founded on man, evil man. I mean, just look at what the United States has done for the world in missions and giving. Look what Cuba's done. Nothing. So there's totally difference on what they were found. I mean, look at our declarations of independence. We start off on the right foot. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator. Then it goes on to say, for the rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right there it is. We start off. Also, did you know that the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, all contain phrases from the first 5 books of the Bible? Another thing, God or divine is referenced in every state constitution, all 50 states. And if you take all 50 states and add them up, the word God or divine is used over 200 times in the constitutions for the states. More or less, socialism, in socialism, the rights comes from the state, not God. Where do you want your rights to come from? Here's a story that I saw that happened in Cuba. They had Catholic churches big down there, you know. They had church, but it all was controlled by Fidel and the government and state. Basically, one thing they would do was, at Sunday school class, with the kids there, the teacher would ask the kids, do you guys want candy? And they go, yeah, we want candy. And they go, well, pray to God to bring you candy. And more or less, the kids would pray, and then they get done praying, and there's no candy in front of them. But then they're like, oh, well, pray to Fidel. See if he will give you candy. So then the kids would pray to Fidel, and then they would get done praying and wake up, and they look up, and there's candy in front of them. So where do you want to get your candy from? Okay, what are the effects of socialism? Loss of spirituality, unhappiness. If you study, you'll see the biggest thing that people who live in socialism, communist states have is unhappiness, the loss of happiness, the loss of worth. There's no hope. They have a hopelessness. They also lose economic strength. Economics goes right down the crap, or when the government controls it, you lose all your freedom and rights. You know, it's kind of funny that you don't ever see anybody building a raft trying to get into Cuba because it's such a wonderful place. You mostly see people trying to build rafts and make it the 80 or 90 miles to Florida. Socialism always ends up in bankruptcy. always ends up in bankruptcy. Cuba had humongous economic problems, had been bailed out by Russia many times. You can look at Venezuela now. It always ends up. Do you know that the socialist plan that these candidates now are putting out from the Democrat Party, saying, take the money from the billionaires, take the money from the billionaires. Okay, well that's real smart, you know what I mean? They probably would take all the money out of the country before they even get in power, but that's a story for another day. Do you know, even if you was to take all the billionaires in America money, every last dollar, you could only fund the government for less than 4 months. So that's kind of a dead-end plan. So where do you get the money to put these plans together after that? Then the so-called socialist leaders, or democratic socialist leaders, whatever you want to call them, say, well, socialism works. Denmark is a prime example of socialism. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're lying to you. Basically, the prime minister or the president, I'm sorry, I'm going blank on what his title is, he put a statement out there saying, would he please quit referencing Denmark as a socialistic country, because we are not. In fact, their business is drive off of capitalism. They pay for a lot of their welfare programs through capitalism. I'm going to address to all you guys that are thinking about voting for socialists and politicians. You might say, oh, I don't have the opportunities that you have or they have. Life treated me unfair. Well, join the crowd. Life is unfair. I am unhappy. I have no peace. You know, but socialism give me all this. Bullcrap, it's not. They're lying to you. They just want to get in power and become another Castro or somebody. If you truly think socialism is good, maybe you ought to talk to people that lived under socialism. Maybe you ought to go down to Venezuela and visit it and see what's going on. I've had the privilege of talking to people that live in socialism. You don't want to, you don't ever want to go there. And if we go down the socialistic path, we will never get our rights back. I know these are strong words, but it's the truth. Don't drink their snake water. But we do have hope. We have great hope here. We have the Lord God. We need to pray for a revival of this country, because this country was a great country through the Constitution of Bill of Rights. All forefathers did a great job of protecting our rights and giving us opportunity and advantage to live underneath a great country where the government is controlled and we have our freedom and our rights. All we have to do is go back to our Christian values. We have to go back to find out who we are and what we stand for, and go back to that, and you will get peace. The only way you have peace and happiness is not through things. Billionaires, millionaires, there's many of them are unhappy. Look at a lot of them Hollywood people. The only way you will find true happiness is through Jesus Christ and through being spirit-filled. So I urge you all to think about your lives, turn to God, pray to God, because we can have a long road ahead of us, but we can have a great road too, through revival. The country needs a deep Christian revival. Remember, time may go on, but your life may not.